Chris with Nature's Recreations here, Aquascape Artist of the Year. We are out in beautiful Forestell, Missouri today doing some pre-work for a future waterfall that's going into this big earthen pond that's behind me here. This thing had just gotten completed right at the end of the season, but we've got to get a clean suction line in for the pumps before this thing fills up. We'll come in next spring and do all of the waterfall work as well as some of the boulder outcroppings that are going in around this thing that are going to accent this whole feature. Let me turn you around and show you what we've got going on here. Pond is starting to fill already, so that's what's got us kind of on a time frame. This is going to be the overflow for that system. This bank is actually going to be a little bit higher than what overflow is giving us a perfect opportunity for a nice waterfall coming down into this feature here. We are going to use this for some fishing and some recreation, so they've got some structure in there for those things. Looks like they've got some beach gravel in to maybe make like a little beach entrance, but that is the view that we're going to be capturing this waterfall from. Essentially right where these flags are, we're going to have a double 6,000 biofalls with really awesome big tall crashing waterfalls coming down this embankment here that is going to be facing back of this home here. So they're going to get views from it from this family room, this lower patio, especially that covered patio back there. Totally going to be something that wants to draw them out to this space. So right now we've got water level up at that overflow when this thing totally fills up. So you can see the elevation difference here. We'll have a nice big drop. We're actually going to have to build structure down into this point. Our intake line is going in over there. That's what I'm getting ready to do today, because this thing's probably going to fill up way before we get out here to do any other work. Good morning, Nature's fans. Chris again with Nature's Recreations, coming down off of a nasty sinus infection, so bear with my voice. It's a little bit still struggling trying to get the words out. But we're back out in beautiful Forestell, Missouri here. We're getting ready to start in on this lake waterfall into this earthen pond. If you remember, I was out last winter putting in my suction line, and unfortunately we've gotten so much rain, this pond is already getting filled up. So we are under the gun to try to get these last set of falls in before that water level reaches that spillway, and it's going to be a tight one. Looking like rain a little bit later this week, but we're going to push hard and get this stuff done and start getting to the point where we're secure even if this water level fills up. Let me show you around what's going on here. Take a look at all this. So here is that overflow spillway sewer culvert that they put in. There's also an emergency spillway where we're coming in at the entrance there that'll bring the water in heavy rain events back around the back side of this and just continue on through that creek that was always there. And if you remember, when I was out putting in this suction line for our pumps, we had our flags put out by the homeowner for the waterfall. So this is where we're actually going to be starting this falls. And you can see that we've got a little bit of distance between the pipe and our falls. In this case, we're not going to be filtering any water other than what goes through the biofalls, but that's not going to touch this size body of water. It's just purely for the effect of where those falls are going to start. So this view is what we're trying to capture. You can see the house is going to just be staring straight at this right here. They've got that lovely garden room off the back of the garage there. Nice timber frame covered porch on the other side. So we want them to be looking right here. So we're going to be cutting in it's not really a big stream and falls. It's only going to be about 10 feet. But what we're going to do is make it double wide so that it's nice and visible from the farther distances. So we've got two big pumps on here. We're going to be pushing close to 20,000 gallons an hour through all this stuff. And right now, what we're worried about is you can see how close we are to that spillway overflow. We've got to get liner in just above this level here. We're going to cut that back into the hillside, create a nice bed for some ledge, and have some liner draping down over the edge of the pond there. That way, if this thing is running when the water level does get low, that's not gonna just erode this bank here. So that's our work we've got today. Starting point is roughly in there. Probably have 1 biofalls on either side, and then we're gonna have that water just dancing around and moving through that whole area. So in addition to doing our waterfall, we're gonna be putting various sections of big outcroppings in all the way around this pond. We're gonna have a couple spots that pop out just beyond where our intake is, that there is kind of a fishing wharf that will take them out into the water's edge so that they could actually fish, stand out on a boulder and access that water. There's also going to be plenty of outcroppings all the way around this whole stream and falls section. We're going to place a big one right there by our pump vault pipe. There's also going to be several groupings all the way around this. Probably going to try to stick something right around this guy here to try to dress that up a little bit. So this whole perimeter of this pond is going to get all decorated up with a bunch of nice, big, beautiful boulder outcroppings to try to make this waterfall feel like it's supposed to be here and really fit in to the surrounding landscape. Looks like they've taken a couple boulders and thrown them in themselves. Those are probably just stuff that they dug up, so we'll probably work in some of our stuff around there. That's the plan. That's what we got going, so let's get after it. Okay, so here we've got our heavy duty rock pad underlayment going in underneath as a reinforcement and padding. This heavyweight non-woven geotextile provides tons of strength and structure under that liner and also extra padding. Then we're gonna lay our liner in there, and then we're gonna start setting stones all in this lower waterfall. This line right here, that is actually our water level. So what we're trying to do is, again, finish these 2 lower sections, get these done so that the pond can fill up, and then we can come in and finish these upper sections later on. The reason that we put this down below water is there's our intake suction line. If that water ever drops down to about there, this is about as low as you're going to want to run the feature, because you can see we're not going to have much else going down beyond that. We're going to tow that liner in just a little bit, pack some stones down in there to hold it in. That way if it ever gets super low, it'll run a little bit over that. But we're going to recommend that when this thing is pretty well exposed, the client shut everything off if that ever did get that low. Way over there is that overflow spillway culvert sewer inlet, so that is going to be where that water is going to hold to and actually spill down into that area. So we're wanting to make sure we get this all buttoned up before that gets that level, then we'll come back and finish her up. So we've got our first few stones in already. We got this massive ledge piece here, another nice chunky one over there. And the idea is that if the water ever gets low enough, we will have a little bit of water running over the tops of these, but we're really not worried about sealing much. This big, huge anchor stone is really providing us a lot of support and structure for this waterfall from above not to want to wash down. So we're going to start framing this out, filling this stuff in. We're going to tow this end piece of liner in there just so it's not floating up, and then we'll start framing this side out over here. We're actually going to have another set of falls that would drop down if it ever got low. That's going to come right through this area. We'll tuck a pig framer, maybe an outcropping there. Again, water levels over there, and over in that orange spot there, we've got this one big stone that's going to be a really cool, our main waterfall stone, that's going to sit kind of right behind this guy. It's going to have water coming off of all the different sides, and it will create some lower terraces to really get some water movement here. And then we're going to have those biofalls starting the feature up there. So we don't have a lot of distance here, but we've got a decent amount of height. So we're going to try to get some water really dancing around and moving through this whole system so they can see it from that far distance over there. We've got pretty much the majority of this lower level done, and we just threw in these little random small stones. All that's really doing is towing in this liner. We're not going to have water ever running over this. We just want to make sure that stuff's not floating and it's completely tacked down. We got a couple more over there we'll throw in, and just wash some soil up over the face of that. This is going to be where we're going to butt up our big fall stone. This, again, just a big support. We'll backfill all this with gravel. We'll set that big guy here, and he's going to stand up, oh, I think it was maybe 8-10 inches above the water. So that way, when it's full, get a nice waterfall. When the water ever drops, we'll also get water running over this, coming down into this area, but we don't anticipate it dropping much. We're going to throw in some more outcroppings and do something like what we've done over here. We've got this section buttoned up. Water level is 2 inches below that guy there, so that's going to stop any kind of wave action from wanting to erode this, and then we'll dress this up and throw in some more outcroppings along that edge there later on. It's coming along not too bad for day one. We got a late start with getting everything out here, stone delivery, getting the equipment out, so I'm pretty happy with what we've got, and thankfully we're getting close to being able to button this up to the point where if it rains, it's not going to affect us and that water level can come up. All right, so we've got our big outcropping in. We got all these falls pretty well ready to go. Guys are gonna be filling in and sealing up everything behind here tomorrow when I'm at some consultations. We've got this outcropping that we had here before, this one here. We're gonna set another one over here once we come back to finish when the water level rises after we're done with some of our spring requirements. So we're not gonna do that until we know kind of what this looks like. But 2 days, actually about a day and a half of production. I'm pretty happy how this thing came out. We've got pretty nice looking falls here. These are gonna be pretty wide and dramatic. We got a limited space up there, but we're really gonna try to get that water moving and pull these biofalls out at the extremes and then maybe kind of culminate into one. But everything's looking great. We're getting ready to button it up for the day. And guys, like I said, I'll be back tomorrow getting everything going. And then we'll be back in a couple weeks to try to finish this guy up. So stay tuned, this one's gonna come out really nice. Hopefully we can get electric run over to our pump house by the time that's done, so that when this does fill up, we can fire this thing up and show you guys what it looks like. Starting our new Melly project. We'll actually continue it because we had to start a little bit of it ahead of time because the lake was coming up with all the rain we've gotten this spring, and today is the day I'm out picking stone for that project. We've got some massive boulders going in around this big earthen bottom pond, and I cannot wait to select these big beauties. A bunch of beautiful weathered limestone here. We're gonna go and tag some stuff and get that on its way because we're getting ready to start moving on this project. So here we go, guys. This is gonna be my one platform stone. We're gonna do this like outcrop peninsula out in the water. They want to be able to walk out and view the water. This is gonna be the guy right here. He's pushing over 7 tons. Just look at this beast. Nice big flat top. They tried to pick it up, they couldn't even get it up with the smaller machine, so we know we're going to be struggling with this, but we're going to have some big equipment to move that one. But I just got to show you this one big ledge piece that I love. Look at the character on this guy here. This thing is completely weathered all the way around. He's every bit of almost 10 feet long, maybe 5-6 feet deep. But just an amazing specimen. Look at how cool that's gonna be. We'll set that right along the water's edge and let that thing really accent this bank. It is just gonna be a phenomenal project. Can't wait to show you.